Hello and welcome back to the channel. Last week was calendar week 6 of the season 3 2026 on iRacing, and I was racing again IMSA and Formula 4. One race was chaotic because of the weather, and the other race was okay because I avoided some accidents, but see for yourself. Before the start, the weather predicted rain the whole duration of the race. So I was using wet tires. Oh my goodness. Shortly after the second corner, the rain stopped and I was on wet tires.
It stopped raining.
It stopped raining. Awesome. The start was kind of like last week. I was way behind the other cars. By the end of lap 2, my tires were already over 100 degrees. So at the end of lap 3, I went to the pit to switch to dry
What's your
tires.
speed limit in the pits?
Then with dry tires gained some temperature, I already gained some positions. And then the rain came back and probably some curbs were already wet, so I crashed the first time. And from this point on, the track will get more wet over the time. And the car was getting more difficult to drive.
Faster car behind.
So with that, I went to the pit again and changed the tires to wet. But even with the wet tires, the track was very hard to drive. Somehow I thought the wet tires were not on my car. So I went back to the pits to put on some new wet tires to see if I did not something wrong. I have pit stop on, I have wets on. But I probably did nothing wrong, because after the second pit stop to the wet tires, it didn't change anything. The track was still very hard to drive. But I was not the only one who had troubles on this track. You had to drive so carefully that the chance is high you could spin out on every corner. Here you can see how wet the track was on the last corners. I managed to get through it, but it was a hard race, but also it was an experience, learning more how to race on a wet track with wet tires. On to the Formula 4 race. Qualifying was okay, I started on P12,
Go.
and also the start phase was okay. I was a little bit too carefully and lost some positions on the start phase. But you never know what happens in the first corners. And getting towards the end of lap 1, there where the first incident happens. By the mid of lap 2, another incident happened, but I could manage to get through it. Shortly after that, another incident happened. I got passed through it, but then someone bumped me in the back and I had a little bit of damage, but it was manageable. But after all these incidents, the race went a little bit quieter and a little bit more chilled. I don't know how the drivers are doing this,
Car number 5 has just been disqualified.
but getting disqualified in a 15-minute race is quite an achievement. How can you be disqualified in a 15-minute race?
The driver in front.
But lucky for me, I gained a position.
Car number 20.
But then some other drivers pushed their car too much,
Looks like 6 is off in. Turn 2.
so I gained positions by just avoiding them. Then this driver was just simply faster, so I had to let him through. And then another driver was disqualified.
Car number 1 has just been disqualified. We think Fowler has gone off in. Turn 5.
So I went back to position 6. And then I finished P6, only by avoiding incidents and consistency. So, there you have it. My races from the last week. IMSA was again not so good, but I can't blame IMSA before it because it was the weather. So I learned a lot for that. And Formula 4 was again pretty good. I avoided a lot of incidents, so all in all, it was a mixed week. So let's hope this week will be better. See you on the next stream. Bye!